If I was sitting where you were sitting, data classification would be one of those roads I would absolutely run down. We think all data is created equal, and it's not. And how do I know what is important and what's not important if I haven't classified that data? That helps me as far as that, where do I do the security spend? In the next breath, data classification to an earlier conversation around authentication and authorization. If I can impose policy on people per their authentication and authorization, I would know who has access to what. If I had my data classified, I could impose policy upon the data itself. So when I had the VP of security, or when I had a customer attaching to a particular piece of data, I would know what they could do with it. I think authentication and authorization with policy imposed upon it, and data classification with policy imposed upon it, allows us to automate, I'm going back to that statement we used earlier, automate many of the security processes we're trying to do with much more difficult steps and processes and sometimes manually. I think data classification in this day winds up being excruciatingly important.
The risk for us is what data we're exposing to the internet and where it's being stored with a third party. So what we've done is we have a policy in place where anyone that is wanting to share data in a formal way, either for a client or partner or just to the public, or where we're going to be storing that data in a third-party data center, we actually go through something called a statement of sensitivity, which helps drives the conversation and ultimately the mitigations of what we want to enforce around that data. So it's the typical confidentiality, availability, sensitivity, and based on that outcome, we have key controls that need to be applied to that. It could be as simple as, this is public information. It's already on our external server. We're just going to put it over here. Maybe just some basic, as Neil was saying, the basic things you need to do to make sure it's okay is sufficient. But once you get to more sensitivity, then we start to look at authentication, encryption, two-factor, maybe a little bit more serious surveillance feeds out of that. Because like Aaron was saying, we too don't have our heads in the sand. We know it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when at this point in time. And what separates the big boys from the small is how fast you react and how fast you stop it.